Welcome to Artificial Insights, where we have conversations with leaders and thinkers in AI about how AI is changing economics, work, and us. I'm your host, Daniel Manary, and this is Season 5. This special episode is part of our student special on AI and education. We wanted to hear directly from students, not just from adults talking about students. Today, I'm joined by Maizah, a grade 12 student at Laurel Heights Secondary School with an interest in business, technology, and accounting. Here's my conversation with Maizah. Thanks for agreeing to chat, hoping to highlight what students are seeing about AI at school and what their teachers think and just other stuff that you have seen, what you might think about AI and any challenges that you might have while trying to interact with it. So I was just curious to hear, what do you hear about AI? How do you use AI at school and how does that impact you?
Basically, I think that a lot of the things that we learn about AI, it comes from social media and stuff. In primary schools, there's a lot more I would say integration because I hear my little brother and my little sister talking about it. Oh yeah, we used our iPads today to learn about letters and that kind of stuff. Even now my little sister uses an app to learn about it. In high school, it's very anti AI. Our English teacher for the entire semester, the structure was to when we were writing an essay, we had to write the first full half on paper, and then we were allowed to write it on a computer and complete it. And it was if your writing on paper and your writing on the computer was too different, then it's AI. And I
Wow.
had a friend and he reads a lot of books, so he's his writing is very articulate and fancy. He was, asking our teacher, "Is this" he was just, getting confirmation, "Is my essay good so far?" And he was like, "Your essay is, a bit too fancy, it kinda looks like a" Mind you, he had written it on paper. I mean, AI for us, I don't know, it's when people try to, stop you from doing something too much, especially high
Mhm.
schoolers, that's exactly what they wanna do. So it's when we hear about AI and, how bad it is, and it's "Don't use AI in your writing, don't use AI to do all this other stuff. Don't get too lazy." Everyone's just "Well, it makes my life easier," you know? When we're at youth tech labs, a lot of people will say "Oh yeah, AI is super duper bad. It's bad for the environment, it's ethically bad and all this stuff." The second you turn around and it's time to start building apps, everybody has ChatGPT open. We know that it's bad, but it's kind of too integrated into our lives to
Mm.
not use it. If you don't use AI, and you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna write my essay, and I'm gonna write it with my own words." And you're, taking a week to write it, and then your friend's like, "Oh, yeah, I finished that essay, in a day." It's kind of hard to not use AI because then it kind of feels like you're falling behind because you're not using all the it's really helpful, even though it's bad for the environment and we're, aware of the stuff that AI is bad for. It's really helpful, and it does make your life easier. I think maybe I'm, feeling more of a dilemma than most in high schools around me, but we, found out about it, how many years ago? 2, 3 years ago, and now it's, so consistent in your life. It's on every Google search. If you want help with a math problem or anything, you need to use AI. If you watch, a video on any social media, there's probably some AI involved. Your teacher's probably using AI. So it's hard to escape it. So you can't really when you can't live your life without something, you kinda just give into it a little bit more. So I think that's what a lot of high schoolers are doing.
What's the dilemma that you feel?
I think the dilemma I feel is that AI is making you dumber and we're losing the humanities to AI. When I hear people talking about their favorite books and that kind of stuff, a lot of people, especially now, this is fine, this is normal. People talk about the newest trending book. And then you look at the description or you look at the famous quotes from the book and they're literally like AI. They're literally AI. I saw this thing where someone was trying to promote a book and they were when he says the most iconic line, and it's just if someone wrote into ChatGPT top 10 flirty lines. And it's so weird. My dilemma is that if I use AI, I'm not gonna get good at, like, writing and,
Mm.
like, being able to, like, articulate my thoughts. Like, you know when you write and you feel like, "This is, like, the most cringe thing I've ever written in my life?"
Yes.
That's how I feel when I write. So then, okay, well, if I just use AI, it'll look more professional and it'll look better. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, what if I'm like 25 and my writing is still like the same cringe it was like when I was 17? Like, I do not want that.
Does that make you want to give up and just use AI, or does that make you want to reject AI or something like that?
It makes me want to like reject it more just because you feel more human when you write and you do your own kind of stuff. In this day and age, how many like authors do you know who are like actually like pushing really good mindsets and who are actually writing about like real life? Not that many. AI kind of like feeds into short attention spans and things like that. So
Mm.
people kind of lose interest in things. When you hear someone talk about something that they really like, they'll start talking about like super general stuff. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, I love cooking." And you're like, "Okay, what do you love about cooking?" And they're like, I just love like the ingredients and I love the taste and all that stuff." But it's like they don't really think too much about it because they don't really have the time to think too much about it, you know?
Mm.
It's like, you know how someone says like reading makes you smarter? I think that reading, this is probably obvious, but like it also like helps with your attention span. I read one book in the last week, and I think I was more locked in than I was in the last month
Cool.
because it's just like it helps you focus better instead of where like an English teacher is like assigning something like a book, and I just ask ChatGPT, "Oh, summarize this for me," and I
Yes.
actually go and I read the book and I'm actually able to think about it and that kind of stuff. And then when you are able to do that, you actually like, go into things that you like and you're like able to think about them more, which I think people my age are not doing that much.
Is that something that is encouraged at your school, or is that something that you just feel?
Like reading more and doing stuff without AI more.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just my school because my school is like very like STEM based. So we haven't really taken a lot of steps into like how do we like use AI around students and that kind of stuff. So school is just like don't use AI at all. It's not gonna help you or anything like that. But it's like they're not like AI is gonna like make you dumber or anything like that. They're just like if you use AI, you get an F. That's it. They don't
Mm.
really like tell you how to understand or what AI is. That part we have to like kind of learn ourselves. And when you have a bunch of students who are just trying to like pass, nobody's really discouraging each other from not using AI. You know, everybody's like, literally, I'm telling you, in December, I was like struggling so hard with my functions class, and somebody was like, "Oh, just pay a subscription for this AI." I was like, "All right, you know what? I'll take it." Like, because the only discouragement you have is that if you get caught, you use an F. And when it comes to high school students, we're not gonna get caught. Like, we're gonna find a million ways to work around stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever makes life easier.
So does that mean then that there isn't any encouragement by the teachers to use AI? There isn't any integration of AI with the classroom or the way that they teach?
Not that much. AI is very, like, taboo from what
Mm.
I've seen, like, don't use it at all, and they're not like, "Oh, yeah, guys, AI is gonna mess with your creativity, and it's gonna make your attention span lower." They're not like that. They're just like, "If you use AI and I catch you using AI, you're getting an F." The only class where I've seen, like, encouragement to use AI was, like, my entrepreneurship classroom, where they were like my teacher, she was just like, "Don't use AI for your writing, but, like, if you guys wanna use AI for, like, your poster or anything like that, like, you can use that, or if you wanna use it to, like, create models and that kinda stuff, like, that's fine." But that's the only encouragement I've seen.
Mm. And what would it mean to be caught using AI if you're not writing the essay and copy pasting from ChatGPT?
It's considered plagiarism. So, like, if you get caught using AI, you gotta maybe talk to the VP about plagiarism and all that. Like, it's the same if you copied somebody's homework.
Mm. And does that ever happen? Is there like conversations about it?
Yes, yes. I'm pretty sure one time, like, I don't know what grade this was, bunch of students used AI on this assignment, and then next thing outside one of my classrooms or something, next thing I know, like I see a bunch of people just walking out of the classroom to the VP's office. And I got caught. It's really funny, but that's what happens. Like it's
Mm.
AI is like a no touch zone.
And you mentioned, I guess, a disconnect and a dilemma related to what you've seen at youth tech labs, where there's that idea of people shouldn't be using AI, and then they'll turn around and, of course, they start using it for app building or whatever other project that is happening. Is that related?
Like yeah, when you're in use tech labs is about like encouraging people to use AI and like learning about AI. I think the thing is just that we don't really know how to use AI. So we kind of just like immediately run to things like ChatGPT and that kind of stuff. I think that's where the dilemma is because it's like places like ChatGPT, like you hear about them, they have like a lot of environmental problems and things like that. So that's where most of the dilemma comes around, where people can be like, oh yeah, like, ChatGPT is like really bad for this and that. And then, they'll go around and use ChatGPT. I think that it's just that students, they don't have a good sense of awareness of like where AI is good and where AI is bad. I kind of did a little research and it was just like using super big AI corporations like ChatGPT and that kind of stuff, super duper bad. But using like smaller companies who like create AI that's kind of like ChatGPT, that can make the effect a lot on the environment and all that stuff like a lot less, I guess. And, like, we just don't have that kind of exposure. We just know, like, "Oh, just put it into ChatGPT or whatever," and that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it sounds like one of the biggest concerns is, at least among students, it's not plagiarism, it's what the effect of running massive data centers it does to the planet.
Yeah. It kinda depends on whatever your social media is and whatever you're, like, looking into. Because, like, even if you're on, like, a little bit of, like, like, human rights awareness and all that kinda stuff, you hear all this stuff about, like, AI is using so much water and, there's gonna be, like, AI is releasing so many toxins into the air and all this stuff. And, like, that concerns our generation a lot because we're gonna be the next adults. So it's like by the time we're the adults, is the air gonna be filled with toxins and that kinda stuff? So it's like, I would hope that most people in my generation, like, are aware of that happening because I know that, like, at least my friends are, like, very cautious of, like, those effects and, like, being aware of those effects and, like, trying to do something about it. But then again, it's like, you can't really run from AI. It's literally everywhere. So it's like, I think, I don't know, there just needs to be better education on how we can use AI and, like, you know, while also, like, not hurting our environment.
And,
'Cause, like, at the end of the day, AI does make our lives easier, and it's not like people are gonna be like, "Well, it makes our lives easier, but let's just go back to the old times when we didn't have it." So, it's like we have to find a way around it.
and you mentioned
Yeah.
seeing quite a bit on social media about AI. What kind of things do you see, and are there specific ways or channels that you see them?
Like, mostly like, how news channels sometimes post on, like, TikTok and that kinda stuff? I see those mostly where they're like, "Is AI gonna cause a drought? Are we gonna have, like, a water shortage in 2027?"
Mm.
Um, but and then those are the things where you actually have to be like, "Okay, now I have to go, like, search this out because you might be lying to me." But then I also see, like, posts on Instagram where it's like I saw this one, like, the other day where it's just like, AI is releasing cancerous toxins into the air, and it's like a huge number of toxins that they were releasing, and like, those posts like those, we see those everywhere, like, I'll see
Mm.
it and, like, I'll see, like, a bunch of, like, my friends have, like, liked that post, but it's like, we can't really do anything about that. It's just like we hear about it, and then we don't hear any governments or anything like that taking action,
Mm.
but I was like, "Okay, like, let me see if anyone's actually taking any action." And I found out that, like, some senator, I think Colorado or something, was, like, passing a law to protect children from AI, which is, like, really good, but it's, like, that's the kind of stuff the news is not reporting at all. Like, they're just reporting all the bad stuff. for some reason.
And is there anything else that has stood out to you, either at school or on social media?
One, I think, one stood out to me a lot, like not in high school or on social media, but like in my family, when it comes to my younger two siblings, it's like how much like AI impacts like their entertainment. They'll like the things that they watch will either be completely animated and it'll look like AI. Don't it wouldn't look like an actual like animation that someone did by hand. Or it'll be on YouTube. Like we're like Muslims, so we can't sit those two down and just tell them everything about our religion and all that stuff. So, we like try to put on fun videos and that kind of stuff. And every time you search anything up that says like kids, it'll just show these like super colorful, super AI generated videos. And then you're like, should I be showing this to these kids? It's like that's something that really stood out to me because then after seeing that, I was like, okay, I think I'd rather take like the educating them part on to myself rather than them watching these AI videos and them getting misinformed. And also having like these insane colorful pictures that like if I watch them for 5 minutes, I'm gonna get a headache. I don't know how they're gonna handle them. But like, yeah, that's what I think about like a lot.
Mm.
It's like really weird. But yeah.
Mhm. And you mean thinking about how to safely educate your younger siblings?
Yeah. In a way that they'll be entertained still, because like you still want that.
Yeah. I started this podcast because of an image that came to me in a dream. Back when cities had walls, everyone passed through the gate. Talk to enough people there and you'd understand the city. I wanted to stand at the gate and understand not just how AI was changing, but how AI was changing us. If you know someone building or leading with AI, or if this episode was useful, an introduction, a share, or a quick review on your podcast app all help keep these conversations going and help others find them. You can reach me on LinkedIn at Daniel Manary or by email at daniel@manary.house. That's Daniel at manary.haus. Thanks for listening.